First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, says every American has an obligation to let kids facing violence in cities like Chicago know that they are not forgotten. She made her comments in an interview with CBS this morning. Mrs. Obama says children in her hometown fear what could happen to them every single day.
Of how every day they wake up and they wonder whether they're going to make it to school alive. I mean, every single kid worries about the death of someone every single day.
They told you?
Yes. We have millions of kids living in these kind of circumstances, and we as a nation have to embrace these kids.
So in 2012, homicides declined nationally. That wasn't the case in Chicago. 506 people were murdered there last year. That's up from 433 in 2011. And Chicago police are quick to point out to us that the rate is down significantly so far this year. In 2018, they say it's down 43%. Still, there is a lot of work to be done, especially when you're coming from over 500. My next guests have two very different ideas on how to drop the number even more. Rasheda Ali is a daughter of boxing legend Ali, and LZ Granderson is a political analyst and senior contributor. Thank you both so much for joining me. And Rasheda, it's good to see you again. We spent some time at your home a few years ago with your family.
Yes.
It's good to see you.
We had fun.
Let's start with you. You are trying to get off the streets and into a boxing ring. You think that'll help?
First, as a start, I was approached by the executive director of the Illinois State Crime Commission, Jerry Elsner, to help market this very positive program. And I want to help kids out of Chicago, and of course I said yes. But what we're trying to do, in a sense, is grab kids off the street, put them into some safe zones, we call them. And, you know, honestly, we want them to get into some type of boxing or karate technique to help them physically. Yeah.
This is personal for you. You were touched by violence within your own family in Chicago.
It's horrible. Back in the 90s, my cousin was gunned down, unfortunately, due to gun violence. He was a very young boy, not even affiliated with gangs at all, very smart, going somewhere with his life. I am not an expert at all with gang prevention. In fact, I spoke with the expert of 15 years, my older sister, Ali, who does gang violence for a living. And I spoke with her this morning, and she works with the City of Los Angeles. And they have a program called the Comprehensive Gang Strategy. And it's actually a based program that they use in Los Angeles. And I feel that Chicago and other gang-infested cities should implement programs like that. They'll start to see an increasingly improvement in and they're dropping like flies in Chicago, and it's unacceptable.
Well, I used to live in Chicago, and I know May's work. She does a lot of good work when it comes to this and trying to get the word out when it comes to this. So, you know, congratulations to her and to you for doing this. LZ, I want to talk to you now.
Thank you.
You and I feel the same way about this, that we need to treat gang members or people who do this. They are terrorists too, I believe, and you believe that as well.
Yeah, I do. You know, I don't want to use that word as a way of, you know, drumming up some hyperbole or exaggeration. But, you know, if you visit the FBI's website and you take a look at the gang statistics that they offer up, they're pretty disturbing to me. I mean, 1 million people in the United States are a member of a gang, representing 33,000 gangs in all 50 states. You know, we spend a lot of time focusing in on Chicago, and justifiably so, but the fact of the matter is gangs in one way or another touch every single community in the country, and yet I see or detect a sense of apathy about it, as if it's more of a localized sort of situation. I ran across a story last year in the New York Times in which there was a couple cities in the Northeast. Police officers go over in Afghanistan and Iraq, and when they came back, they noticed similarities between the gangs they were trying to deal with and the insurgents overseas. And so they incorporated some of those tactics to help address what was going on inside. And I suggest that by looking at it from a different cultural lens and not treating it as some sort of petty crimes, but rather what it really is, members of our society terrorizing the larger community, we need to address it in terms of tactics as well as resources.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, you know, we may not label it in the traditional sense as terrorism, but they do terrorize communities. They terrorize entire neighborhoods. Little old ladies, children end up dying, and people are even afraid to go outside. As he was saying that, Rasheda, you're shaking your head in agreement. Why?
Well, I partially agree with LZ and you. I feel that, and I'm like I said, I'm not claiming to be an expert at all. I'm just using my common sense, and because it hit home so close to me, I don't feel that these gang leaders, I wouldn't tag them terrorists personally. I think tagging them terrorists is actually an incorrect use of the word, and the solution wouldn't be terrorist-based. These kids clearly have anger management issues. They don't have families at home. They deal in a community that's violent. Their homes are violent. Their unemployment status is high. They need help. And I don't think the solution is terrorist-based.
Is there a website for your boxing campaign? It began in January.
Yeah, the Illinois State Crime Commission, and you can go on there and read about what we're doing. We're trying to start a campaign. Honestly, small organization. We just started. We're trying to get business leaders from Chicago involved, politicians, religious leaders, union leaders. We have lots of volunteers, part of law enforcement, just trying to help these kids. It's a start. It's a small of the larger puzzle, but it's a start.
You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. Thank you.
That's right.
Listen, and again, I have to tell you guys and the audience, Chicago police say the murder rate down 43% this year, but they started out again at 500, over 500 last year, the end of the year, I should say. And LZ, you can get LZ's work. He writes about this often on CNN.com. Thank you both. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.